Hello, this is James Graff of Advisors Mortgage Group with another Mortgage Minute. Now we're going to talk about things that happen only in America. This is all a little bit of comedy, hopefully, right? A drive-in film festival in Portland, Oregon has withdrawn the comedy Kindergarten Cop after complaints that it, quote, romanticizes over-policing, unquote. The 1990 PG-13 film stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as an undercover cop posing as a teacher to bust a drug ring. Local author Lois Levine tweeted, quote, "There's nothing entertaining about the presence of police in schools," which feeds the, quote, school-to-prison pipeline in which African-American, Latinos, I believe, and other kids of color are criminalized, unquote. Is that funny? It's kind of funny and sad in some many peculiar ways. Just peculiar because it's a bit much. It's again, this is the arguments levied against the liberals that go way too far. You know, it's a bit too far. We're going too far on that one. I think it's become comedy, comic. Anyway, but does he have a good point? He's got a point, but not in the right. It's in the wrong venue. Anyway, sorry. Next one. Federal magistrate judges have banned at least a dozen protesters arrested in Portland, Oregon, from attending future protests. What? The judges' release orders include the injunction, quote, defendant may not attend any other protests, rallies, assemblies, or public gatherings, unquote. It's making me laugh, sorry. The ACLU, which I'll think of what it stands for, calls the orders, quote, hilariously unconstitutional. And they are absolutely, almost infuriatingly unconstitutional. It's just absurd. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, says that the orders are hilariously unconstitutional. Just laugh. It's a laugh. It's a joke. How's that? Defendant may not attend any other protests. How about protesting your mom and dad? I don't know. Rallies? How about for president? Assemblies, like school assembly? I don't know. Or public gatherings, like a backyard barbecue or... Anyway, it's just absurd. That's not what they meant. Anyway, we're taking everything out of context. All right, moving on. This is not as funny, but fun, right? Good week for news speak after CNN reported that, quote, individuals with a cervix, unquote. I know many people have different opinions on this. I will not give you my opinion on this. Are being urged to get tested for cervical cancer. If you have a cervix, you should get it tested for cancer. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I can't argue with that. But I'm sure you could. Many could, right? After days of online mockery, which is, I understand that. CNN Vice President Matt Dornick tweeted, quote, "I'm sorry if it's upsetting for some of you to acknowledge the existence of transgender men and women." So they're saying that that a male with a cervix, which is medically possible, it's scientifically and medically possible, that a male could have a cervix and therefore need to get it. So you can't say all females get your cervix checked. I'm sorry, but that's scientifically correct. Moving on. Novel excuses, that's all I'll say. Good week for novel excuses after an elderly Florida man arrested for drunk driving a golf cart blamed his intoxication on watching President Trump give a coronavirus briefing. I know that Trump was recently deleted from Twitter and Facebook for saying that children are virtually immune to COVID-19. That is just absolute scientific nonsense. Children have died. A 9-year-old died of COVID-19. I could read the article. It's sad and disturbing. But, okay, we're moving on. We're going to move on from that. Sorry. Okay. Carried Van, 82, after being arrested for drunk driving a golf cart, blaming his intoxication on watching Donald Trump. Told officers he, quote, got really mad at what Trump said, unquote, and started drinking vodka. Uh, we all know that that's no excuse for driving your golf cart drunk. Okay, we're moving on. Sorry, I could go on off on that one for a while, but I won't. Quote, good week for dirty tricks after 4 people active in Republican politics sought to get Kanye West on the presidential ballot in several states, including swing state Wisconsin. West's wife, Kim Kardashian, has recently described West as mentally ill. Now that's just a leftist jab. These are all, are these all leftist jabs? Absolutely, all 3 of these leftist, liberal jabs. Comedy. It's comedy, but they're progressive in their nature, so I should not comment on them. Bad week for hands, touching hands, reaching out. Murphy's Irish pub, not related to Governor Murphy, I assume. After Murphy's Irish pub in Coralejo, Spain, this is in Spain, removed Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline from its music menu because patrons can't resist singing along. Indoor group singing is known to spread the coronavirus. Is it known? Yeah, it's pretty much known. It spreads the COVID-19, and it's I always have distaste when I say coronavirus because it's a group of viruses. So we're talking about the coronavirus here. Okay. Anyway, funny. They're singing along. I thought they were going to be touching hands, but they're not touching hands. They're simply singing, and singing actually produces too much viruses in the air in a pub. So anyway, moving on. Overdosing. Bad week for overdosing after a light plane bound for Australia, stuffed with 1,100 pounds of cocaine, crashed during takeoff from an airport in Papua New Guinea, I believe it's pronounced. Police say the weight of the illegal cargo may have, quote, had an impact on the plane's ability to take off. It was so jammed full of cocaine, which I'm sure is highly illegal in Papua New Guinea and illegal pretty much everywhere that I know of. It could not take off. It was too stuffed with cocaine. That's just funny. Sorry. Next. Bad week for money laundering. There's a whole new topic here. There's a big talk about the art world. 70% of the art auctioning and selling back and forth, the art industry basically selling, went away when they started watching it for money laundering in Mexico. So, and they're talking about that at least 3% of the U.S. Art industry, the art market, buying and selling paintings basically, mostly, is money laundering. They've almost pretty much proved that because the 2 brothers involved with Putin, one of the brothers is building the bridge into Crimea, billions of dollars with the bridge. He was one of the secret buyers of 3% of the market. I think it's maybe 1.5%. I don't remember. I'll look it up and I'll read it to you if I can. So they're just, FBI knows that that's money laundering. And again, secret buyers, because the art industry thrives off the fact that nobody knows who's buying. Otherwise, the auctioneer couldn't make money. They would just talk to each other, and there wouldn't be a need for the middleman. Middleman would be out of the story, which probably should be the case. But although it should all be monitored, regulated, right? It should be. Of course, it should be. But such wealthy people do it. It's not regulated. Corruption? Absolutely. This is corruption. Here we go. Now we're talking comedy. This is comedy. Bad week for money laundering after a South Korea bank only partially reimbursed a man who ran cash through his washing machine to rid it of, again, they say coronavirus, but it's really CoV-2, whatever it is. The Bank of Korea said it could pay the man only half a value for the 507 50,000 won notes, each originally worth $42. You're talking about like $10,000 loss because he washed it because he was afraid of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. He washed it and he lost half of it because the bank wouldn't take it anymore. The bills are so badly damaged that they have to, I don't know. It sounds like a bogus claim in my opinion. Excuse me. So, after some comedy, we're going to move on to some serious stuff. This is serious. Shorter deadline for final census count. This is political. I don't like to get political. Again, I don't like to give my opinion as advisors or anyone I'm quoting here, but this is just some facts. The U.S. Census Bureau announced this week that it will halt all counting efforts for the 2020 census on September 30th, a month sooner than planned, drawing fierce objections from civil rights groups and Democrats who say the Trump administration is trying to deliberately undercount poor people and immigrants. Period. Now we can see why people say that these news sources are liberal. This is a progressive agenda, I believe, we're talking about here. We're going to move on. The decision gives census workers just 6 weeks to track down 37% of American households that have yet to respond. 4 former directors of the Census Bureau issued a statement warning that the accelerated deadline would, quote, result in seriously incomplete enumerations in many areas across our country, unquote. That's not good, is it? Not good. I think I'm pretty progressive. Not good. Let's count the people. Let's get the census exactly right. I'm all for science. I'm all for counting every vote, making sure the election is done as just and fair as physically possible, without any fraud, of course. But the census is the census. We need to know who lives in America. It's just absolutely imperative. So the House has approved a 5-month counting extension because of the pandemic, but the Senate has not approved or even scheduled a vote on a new timeline. Of course, the Senate, most of the people in the Senate would benefit from the census not discovering the huge change in America over the past 10 years. That's all I'm going to say about that topic. I got myself in hot water with that statement. Again, not the opinion of advisors, not the opinion of anyone involved in these facts being reported. It's just a simple fact that this is what happened. That's what they said. That's what they claim. There's some claims here. Gives 6 weeks, 37% of American households. That's a claim. Is it true? I don't know. Everything's biased. Keep that in mind, that everything is biased. I hope you enjoyed my little brief foray into some comic fun stories. This has been James Graff with Advisors Mortgage Group with 13 minutes of news talk. Thanks.